I'm excited to have my friend Amy Weiss with us today. I am going to do a deep dive. She has been in the space for a long time, and her history before Amazon, selling on Amazon, teaching sellers, creating trips to help source from South America and Central America and Mexico. I'm going to be seeing you guys in a week out there in Mexico. So I want to dive in and say, because first of all, thank you for your service. I know that you served. Where did you serve? What branch? And when did you get started?
Oh, well, thank you, Brandon, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be in this space with you. I look up to you so much, and I just
Mutual.
love what we're able to do in the space for sellers. So my background is a military background. I was in the United States Air Force for 18 years.
My dad was Air Force.
What?
My dad was Air Force as well.
Oh,
That's
so cool.
that's his flag. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So yeah, we were just chatting about that. So it's, fun stuff. I ended my career in the Air Force in cybersecurity. So it's really interesting how my cybersecurity background has contributed to some of my efforts in e-commerce because, when I was trying to learn the Amazon algorithm, since there was nothing published on it, I used my knowledge of being able to kind of reverse engineer things. And I just took the Google algorithm, which was really, really well published, and started picking things apart and testing stuff on Amazon. As we all know, that's the way to figure it out, right? Like test and tweak, test and tweak. So that's how I learned a lot about the A9 algorithm, which is, kind of secretive, but of course they're taking a lot of their tips from Google. So that was a lot of fun. And some of those standards have crossed over, those skills have crossed over for me and made me better at e-commerce.
So 18 years, you were basically a career. Like, is there a threshold you have to hit to where you get your pension? Is that what it is? Is 18?
Yeah, it was 20, but I do have a full retirement. So yeah, my husband also did 20 years as well.
Wow.
So
okay.
that's how we met.
Yeah. He's awesome. So background was cybersecurity, understanding, complex algorithms and computers, and really, and then started to use that to get into Amazon and have some success there. And I didn't know that about you because
I actually started selling on Amazon in 2007 while I was still
holy
in the
cow.
Air Force. Yeah, I was selling my textbooks because I was working my way through college while I was in the Air Force. And I was trying to buy cheaper textbooks because I did have to pay for that, right? And I saw this little button on Amazon that said sell yours here. And I was like, oh, I could sell my textbooks. And then I just started selling like everything I could get my hands on. But back then it was not, it was just a hobby, and it was all like merchant fulfilled. FBA didn't exist yet. So in 2017, when I invented a product, I had to kind of learn things again and newly because it was very different. All of these big FBA sellers were out there, and the business model was completely different. And the way you dealt with Amazon, it was so much more like when I wanted to have a real business versus just this little hobby flipping things.
Yeah.
I had to learn more. And so that's when I dove in deeper, and I was like, oh man, I have to learn SEO. I have to learn, how do customers find my products? And then being an inventor and bringing a product to market was very difficult. That process isn't exactly a perfectly.
That's what's amazing about like your story. I want to dive into that a little bit because you're I've known you as an amazing product developer. So the diving back into the algorithm to figure out how to rank it, I've always known you to make high quality, unique, beautiful products. Like that's what I've known you to do. So what was and among the people that teach, like I don't share my brands out there. A lot of my students know my brands, but I would say that very few share their brands, and you do. At least some of them. How many active brands do you have, and how many do you share?
I have 3 active, and I share with my clients and with my mastermind group, just because I think we're all on this journey together, and I think it's important to realize that there's always something new to learn. And it's not like, oh, Amy has it all figured out. I learn more from working, and I'm sure you learn a lot too from working with other clients and people selling in different categories and things that they're experiencing. If I just was I'm in pets and home and kitchen. And if I was just in those two categories and that was my only experience, I wouldn't know near as much as I know now from working with so many different categories and so many different problem sets. And it really is a cool thing to have a community and do it together,
It really is. It makes a huge difference. I think that what teaching started, we started teaching in 2017, 2018, really started to develop seller systems. What teaching forced me to do was to write down the exact steps we were taking, right? To really think and go deeper into what we were doing every single step of the way and why we were doing it. And then really refine that. And it makes you better. Teaching just makes you better. It really does. And it's been the foundation. So I was just giving the same example. It's like you have active brands. There's a lot of teachers out there that don't. The algorithm constantly changes, as you know. And so it's very, very fast and easy for you to get outdated with your content.
Yeah.
And I consider those that don't also do and only teach to become, you very quickly become a fake guru in some ways, because what you're teaching just doesn't work anymore. And so Jennifer and I have had the opportunity to sell our brands, and we just passed on it. Like, we're like, well, because at some point you're like, well, you're already doing, like last year we did 12 million, 2021, we did 12 million, we did 22 million last year. And it's like, when at the 12 million mark, we could have sold it for a really nice check. Multiples were great. 2021 was a great year to sell. And it's like, but what are we going to, like, maybe we could start new brands, we could do it. And we were already scaling the team. We had hired a CEO coach. We were learning how to scale and build. That was such a new, great adventure and learning curve for us that we said, you know what, let's just go to 50 million, right? Because what we're going to learn by doing that and being granular still in the product development and launch, but then also learning how to scale, that's just going to make us be able to teach even more and get even better at it. And it's going to help us get to that next level. And so
there's a different skill set, right? There's a different skill set that comes from just growing an initial brand to scaling it, to having multiple brands, to like growing a team, to not just being like, and there's nothing wrong with staying, if you're just going to stay like a one person or a 2-person shop, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
nothing wrong with it.
How many brands do that and have, multi-million dollars in sales? But at the same time, like, there is an extra challenge to like, can I do 100 million? Can I do,
100%. The learning curve and what you need, the skills you need and what you need to do and what you need as to be equipped with at every level is very different. And, it's been said many times that 0 to 1 is the hardest part, but 1 to 3 is a completely different journey. 1 to 3 million. 3 to 10 is a completely different journey. Like, we've leveled it. We created levels of different Amazon businesses. And it's like you and a solopreneur and a VA can get to $1 million to $3 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
You and a couple specialists can get to $10 million. So you have like an org chart that's pretty flat, right? The reality is, to get to 50, you need to start layering that org chart. You need to hire juniors and then seniors and associates, then juniors, then seniors. And you need a training system. You need to be able to have people managing others underneath them so that they are all growing together. Really, really different journey that we've been on. And without a CEO coach, we probably wouldn't have figured it out. We've spent a couple $100,000 on executive coaching. So even we invest in coaching, and it's necessary. But I think without that, we wouldn't be able to teach. And without being able to teach, we wouldn't be able to automate the processes that become Data Dive. And then our team is using Data Dive. So it's this 3-legged stool, right? That everyone and a flywheel, and it works so well together. And although we work an insane number of hours and we're pulled in these 3 different directions, they're all so related that it works, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you have the brands, you teach, you do consulting on the side, and it's funny because I was just asking about the cat litter thing, and then you had one, but the problem was my mom couldn't lift because she just had the triple bypass. But otherwise, your invention there looks amazing. and you can't keep it in stock.
No, it's been difficult. I mean, it's hard because it's made in the USA. And so I have a lot of, there's components of it made in China, and then the main components are made in the USA, and then it's all like prepped and packed here. So streamlining that has been hard. And my USA factory I'm actually trying to move it to Mexico because my USA factory, their lead times keep changing and they're not reliable. And it's very difficult.
So frustrating. That's so frustrating about sourcing in the US is that you're like, I want to order 5,000 units. They're like, that'll take us 3 months.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, and it's sometimes it's like, oh, we can get it done in 8 weeks. And then it's like when our sales have grown and we need more, they're like, oh, sorry, the lead time for that is 13 weeks. And it's like
6 months.
and they're like, well, you needed to forecast that to us. Like, we needed to know that that was your forecasted sales like 6 months ago. And we're like, we didn't expect it to grow that fast. Like, that's how it happens, Yeah. So it's been fun. And, I do source from China as well. I have a lot of great suppliers in China. I started taking people on sourcing trips to China. And really, for me, going to China myself really changed my business because I was able to build these relationships with suppliers and really get my prices down and understand what that looked like, and really understanding what your manufacturing process looks like changes the game, because then you understand how to vet your suppliers, right? If you can get on a video call, right now we're getting on video calls because we haven't really been able to get back to China, but you can get on a video call with your supplier and or a potential supplier, and what that manufacturing process looks like. To expect to see injection molding machines, to expect to see cut and sew machines, and they take you around the factory. It's on that video call. You're going to know. I was on a call with a client's manufacturer the other day, a potential manufacturer, and we were doing the standard talk and relationship building, and they took us around the factory, and it was clearly a trading company. There was no cut and sewing going on. There was nothing. And
that's so hard for people to understand the difference and how many trading companies pretend to be factories.
Yeah.
We had someone take us to a factory claiming it was their factory, a different name on the wall. And then like my wife speaks, they thought she was just a translator. They tried to bribe her.
It's really crazy. And so that's why we love, there's nothing wrong with sourcing from China. Obviously, they have worked hard to become the powerhouse that they are. And I love my suppliers in China. I love the relationships that I've built there. And I love taking people to China. I can't wait to go back to the Canton.
Can't wait to go back.
Yes, it's so much fun. But at the same time, there's been this demand to source from Mexico. And I've been going to Mexico for years on vacation, right? And I live in Texas, and there's all these things on our retail shelves that are made in Mexico. And there's like this big mystery because there's like no Alibaba for Mexico, right? Or you might be able to find like one manufacturer on there, but then it's like the guy in China, Yeah.
I've noticed that too.
So we were like, where are these manufacturers? We're just trying to figure it out. We're like, okay, Mexico has a lot of capabilities, but where are these manufacturers? And, we were thinking, Tim Jordan and I came together, and we were both, Tim had done some stuff in Guatemala, and he had a sourcing company there and some stuff there. And we were both wanting to kind of get into more sourcing in Latin America. And we thought, okay, this is easy. We can just take a group of sellers to Mexico, right? Like Mexico is they're like number 2 in injection molding. Like we can take sellers to Mexico on a sourcing trip, and we can just attend a trade show, and it's all going to be flowers and rainbows, and it's going to work out, right? So we start planning this sourcing trip, which we've done sourcing trips all over, right? Like Tim's a coach on the India sourcing trip. Like, we've been all over the world.
He used to do a ton in China too. Tim's been around. Like that was his main business for a long time.
Exactly. And I've been to China so many times on my own sourcing trips and stuff like that. And it was just, okay, this is going to be easy. And we looked, and there are no multi-category trade shows in Latin
Literally
America. None.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's great trade shows. Like when I was scoping out our event venue, the Cintermex for the Evo Latam that's coming up here that you're speaking at in a couple of weeks, when I was scoping out the venue, there was a huge like plastics trade show that was happening at the time. And I popped in there and it was just so much capability, so awesome. And so it's not that Mexico doesn't have the capability, and it's not that they don't have trade shows. I mean, there's so many, like one of our speakers, he's a product developer, and he specializes in helping electronics companies move their supply chain from China to Mexico. So, there's so much capability there, and they're so awesome. And one of the factories we're going to be touring on the Mexico trip, honestly, Brandon, I've been through so many factories in China. I have never seen a factory with this level of sophistication that I saw.
Wow, that's awesome.
They had every single manufacturing process in there. Like they had cut and sew, they had plastic injection molding, they had robotics, they were hand making some products from their original factory. They've been in business for 103 years.
Wow.
So I'm so excited to take the group from the Mexico trip on this factory tour, because seeing so many manufacturing processes.
You're hitting it all in one shot, right? You can see all the different processes. Yeah.
Yes, really incredible. So anyway, we ended up starting our own trade show in Mexico, and it has been a journey. It's been the craziest, biggest thing I've ever done. I'm going to need some...
You're creating the Canton Fair of Mexico.
Yes.
It's amazing. I love the fact that you're like, well, there isn't one, so I guess that leaves only one choice. We got to do it ourselves, right?
Well, I can't take credit for that. That was all Tim Jordan being, Tim's
he's crazy. You're crazy too.
Visionary.
But he's crazy.
So I'm more of an operator, right? I'm an integrator. I'm an operator, which is good. You need both in any business. A big business like that, when you're building something big, you really do. Like, and we still need more. We're still growing every time, and I'm learning so much through all of this. It's really growing me in an amazing way. But yeah,
I love the fact that there's an opportunity to finally find reliable factories just south of the border.
Yes.
Look, I want to, as an example, I'm creating a new brand that's going to be a case study brand, because I want to have some public facing brands, wins and losses, launch some products. Some are going to win, some are going to lose, learn from all of them, teach around it, create content. And it's going to be a based in the USA brand. But maybe I'll do one for based in Mexico, or based in the Western Hemisphere, right? Like we'll figure something out. And
you could do something in the Americas, right? Like where
just an America's brand, Mexico. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's super necessary. But it's been so hard to find any reliable factories in the US. There's a lot of people that will watch this and be like, "You guys are anti-American, right?" And I'm like, "No, I love America. You served our country for 18 years. You want to do American made. You want to support the country, but it's just like really hard or impossible with a lot of products."
And I would say this, people ask me all the time. I always have clients that are like, I really don't want to source from China. I really want to source in the USA. And I explain like, hey, economics are important. And we have consumers in general have a certain expectation. And while they are sometimes willing to pay more for made in America, that doesn't make sense for every product. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that every single product out there, they're going to be willing to pay more just because it's made in America.
That's true.
So in America isn't even set up. There's a reason that brands started going to China to like set up their factories. And now even China is starting to open up factories in Mexico. So it's really cool to see the transformation of the landscape, Yeah. But it's really important for people to understand in general, and people who are starting their own brands to understand like economics are important. And in order to compete, you really have to know your customer, you have to know your market, and you need to make sure that you can grow a sustainable and profitable brand. And if you're just trying to, I'm going to source in the USA no matter what, and you're not considering all those factors, then, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment. We'll put it that
100%. I just love the fact that you guys saw a need in the market, and now you're creating a solution. And I think it's going to help a lot of sellers. There is this. We were exploring creating our own factory for our toys, right? Like we do thousands of toys a day, right? Like we did close to we did over 1 million units last year.
Wow.
Over 1 million units. And so we were thinking to ourselves, okay, it might make sense to create a factory, right? Like an injection molding. We do wood, we do outdoor, we do educational. So we have a mix. Like it wouldn't all be plastic, but we just start with a few SKUs, like a few of our best sellers, and that we know we sell hundreds a day of each, and then grow from there. The loopholes, the different like hoops you have to jump through, and the cost of the machinery, and then getting the raw pellets, the plastic pellets, the testing. By the time we looked at it, it was almost like the same as landing it from China, but without all the overhead.
Yeah.
I was like, to do this right, we would have to scale and have a major facility here. So that's why, like, when you look at these injection molding companies in the US, like the price is significantly higher.
Yeah,
Because
and in
it is.
Mexico, there's a ton of, you can really
But
get.
Mexico is a great source for that. I think that they have an advantage there. And then you save on tariffs. Toys don't really have tariffs anymore, but we had some products like some of our travel bags and things had huge tariffs. And I was
Yeah,
looking
and as long as
originally
it's-
3-4 years ago.
As long as
Or
it's 70% or more made in Mexico. So even if you're sending your raw materials from China to Mexico, or you're sending something that's already cut from the factory, as long as it's finished in Mexico and it's considered 70% or more, your tariffs are gone. And then to think about the cost of shipping to Mexico from China is still very effective. And then the cost of labor in Mexico is actually cheaper than in China. It's by about I think it's a little over $1 cheaper.
That flipped in the last few years for sure. The average wage in China has gone up significantly.
And it's not to say that the quality in Mexico is it's just the economics of it. They both do great quality work, right? It's just the economics, the workforce in China is changing, as we all know.
But I haven't had a sample from Mexico in a few years, and the sample wasn't good, right? I'm sure it's changed and it's moving in that direction, and I'm excited about going on the trip because I want to explore moving some products there, and maybe find some products that we can showcase and do. And I appreciate the fact that you guys have worked hard to make this a thing, right? I think a lot of sellers, a lot of companies, even if you're not selling on Amazon, wherever you're selling, even if you're a mom and pop shop or you're selling on a direct to consumer like a Shopify, you should be going to Mexico to look for goods. You should be creating your own brands. You should be looking for an opportunity to build a multi-million-dollar business over the next couple of years. And the opportunity is there.
I think what's cool too about Mexico is it's not perfect for everything, right? We're still building a lot, and there's an education gap there when it comes to working with e-commerce. That's what we're learning. We're learning how to put all those pieces together. The same thing that we had to do in China. The capability was there. It's just there wasn't the knowledge of how to work with e-commerce. We're a different breed, right? So we're putting those pieces together in Mexico, and it's been very fruitful thus far. And we're getting there. But I think what's also important for people to understand is that there's a lot of established brands in Mexico that are not selling anywhere else. The partnership and the white label opportunities are incredible. So, imagine you might already have a really great brand and product, a few products that you source from China, and you're happy there. And like you got those things on autopilot now and they're looking good, and you're looking for different ways to expand your brand. Well, imagine if you were to meet some really great established brands in Latin America that you could partner up with, and you're just white labeling those goods, or you're, whatever, however you want to work that. But the opportunities there are really, really incredible. And then when you also think about the fact that you can get your goods in 2 days,
amazing,
to Amazon, right? It's very easy to get
just truck it right across the border, and it's so easy.
Yes. And then we have a couple of folks that are coming on the Mexico trip, and they're sellers. They live in Monterrey, and they're doing, a couple million on Amazon every year. They solely source from Mexico, and they got their shipping per unit down to 19 cents a unit. Like, that's a dream. I wish I had 19 cents a unit, right? So there's really some things that have to be figured out. But what's cool is we're bringing all these resources together. Yeah. And even if we're also bringing sourcing companies, like we're bringing a lot of resources. So even if you don't meet your ideal manufacturer at Evo Latam, because obviously we're not the Canton Fair. We're far from it. We're just getting started, but we do have, some good resources for you to get started. It's really great for you.
I love the opportunity, but beyond that, I think the networking too. But the 19 cents is nuts. I can't ship goods from Cincinnati to Chicago for 19 cents.
I know. I was like, how did you guys?
That's awesome. And I love the fact that so many sellers are going to be there that are already successful. You've put the education component to it for sellers that are coming, which I'm excited to be a part. And I appreciate you inviting me to be a part of that. So we're working on Jennifer's passport. She has like a temporary thing that expired, but it was extended, but we have to get a stamp on it, passport. Hopefully we get all that done in the next week or two so she can join us and she'll be there. And but I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys down there and looking at the opportunities south of the border. I've wanted to. I just haven't been as brave as you guys. And I think that now you're pushing me in that direction. But I hope that anyone watching that is looking for an opportunity for products goes on this trip, meets tons of factories, meets other sellers, takes some tours. This is the opportunity to tour sophisticated factories and learn the process, the product development process, the product manufacturing process without having to go to China, which we will also do in April. But, do both, right? Like, grow your business, travel, get to know people. That's what we love this business for. We get to be around some amazing people, it's amazing. I really, really, and that's why it's amazing at home, right? Because I get to hang out with you guys. So thank you.
For sure. Well, yes, thank you so much for inviting your group on the trip. And anybody who'd like to just explore more what the trip's about, Brandon, of course, has exclusive discounts for you guys. So get with him on that. But
I think the code is Seller Systems. I think it's pretty straightforward, so it makes sense.
Yeah. You might want to try that coupon code Seller Systems. That might work, might give you like a really good discount, a Brandon Young level discount on the trip. But if you guys want to learn more, you can go to themexicotrip.com.
Pretty great domain name too, huh?
Yeah, it's really, really tough name.
On the nose.
And if you want to just attend the trade show, so it's two events. The first one is the Mexico trip, and that's where we're going on the factory tours. We're going to do the in-depth learning and all of that. That's a 7-day all-inclusive business trip. A lot of fun. And we'll be attending the trade show together too. So that's themexicotrip.com. But if you just want to come down for the trade show, if you just want to be part of the trade show, it's actually free to attend. You can go to evolatam.com, evolatam.com, and you'll see Brandon there. He's going to be speaking. We're doing a really cool Ecom Connect networking event the first night. That's February 15th and 16th. And again, you could just go to evolatam.com and register for free. Meet us down there in Monterrey. Monterrey is only a couple hours south of the border there. So if you're in Texas, like me, you could drive there in about 5 hours. But I don't like to drive any more than 2 hours. So I'm hopping on a 1-hour flight and going to the Monterrey International Airport, and beautiful city, mountainous, picturesque, gorgeous, and just really, really awesome. So we'd love to have you guys there. Come check out what Mexico has to offer. Come hang out with us. And
I have one more question to ask you beyond the trip, because I think it's like I've noticed you're looking great. You've lost a lot of weight. Your skin. Now I've heard some rumors about some peptides and some supplements and some things. I got to hear what are you doing?
Who do you think I learned the peptides and supplements?
Well, the go-to guy is Leo Segovia. So
of course. I've been a CrossFitter. I've been a supplement junkie for a long, long time. And I hit the gym every morning and do high intensity intervals and stuff like that. So in good shape, but during the pandemic, I gained some extra pounds, and those were very difficult to take off.
You got to get back to your military shape.
Yeah, well, I actually got in better shape after I got out of the military.
Oh.
So yeah, it was good, but I tried a new peptide, and it's really great for weight loss, and it's called semaglutide. And so that really, in a couple of months really helped me take off those extra pounds, but ultimately just staying on those supplements, staying in shape and eating better. And then, I tried that peptide and that was really good too.
I need to get on that. I'm going to talk to Leo. I've got some medical things I want to lose. I'm going to drop about 60 pounds over the next 8 to 12 months.
I'll send you the info because I don't know that Leo tried that one. He just is the one who put me on to peptides and just learning more about
they work.
Peptides.
They are an amazing breakthrough in science over the last couple of years. And a lot of people have been using them and I've been seeing the results. Kevin King's using them. I know that he's looking good. He's lost a lot of weight, and I'm over here getting fatter. So I need to get on something. But I'll see you in Mexico. I'll send you the
info for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. It's fascinating, and I'm looking forward to hanging out.
Yes. See you guys soon in Mexico.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.